Hi friends, this is Bilal Haider and this is our third video part. In this video session, what we are going to learn, we are basically what we will do, we'll write a simple script and we'll test out how the function calls works. I mean, if you write a simple function and you run the game, how it will be called, and if you write some attributes on top of those functions and then if you call them, how that will behave. And we'll learn several attributes, how they work in this session here. Alright, so before I actually go and start talking about that, what I have done here, I have a basic setup, the same player prefab which we were having last time, and this time we have this value script in it. I have written some code in it already, but before I go and show you that, I will go to my play scene, and in this scene what I have in here is this info display text component, alright, or a text game object which Unity UI provides us, which you can get UI, which you can go to UI and add this text game object. Alright, so I have added it and I have changed its name to info display, and currently it doesn't have anything in here. I changed it, its font size, its style and its alignment. Alright, so I set up in this center at the center of the scene, so that if we do some debugs when we are playing a game, I mean if we build the game and then we play it, that will not show us any debugs. Alright, we cannot see those alerts which we can see under console here because we are playing the build version. So I want to check, I mean, how these function calls works and how these functions are called and when. So that's why I made this text game object, so that I can display my my alerts or my errors, my warnings, not warning actually, but the error messages, these alert messages, sorry, in this text. Alright, in the game, in the play scene. Alright, now let's go to our this value script. What I have in here, I have a boolean flag in here. I declared a game object where we will grab that text field, sorry, that text game object which we are having in here, and we will display text on it. So that's why I declared this game object here. And in start function, what I'm doing, I'm just finding that info display game object and storing it inside of this my obj. Alright, now under update, what I have done here, I have written this if condition here, and what this if condition does, it basically makes sure that this update function, because this update function calls on every frame, we don't want this function to be called like 60 times in a second. Alright, we want this to be executed excuse me, only once. Alright, we're just testing out, so that's why we are just making sure that it runs only one time. Alright, now this show message function here, what it does is simply it grabs that text component from this game object and it changes its text to show message was called, and then this /n which goes to a new line. Alright, and every time we will display text on our screen, the previous text will remain there and it will be added, so that every time this function is called, new text is appended to it. Alright, now as you can see here that we have applied that drag that value script onto our player prefab. Now let's go and actually play that. Let's build and run that, so that we have two instances, one we will make one as client and other one as server and client. Alright, we will host the game on one side and also play at the same time, and the other will be only the client. And we are just making sure how this function call works when we are on a multiplayer game. Let's play this. We are doing this simple test here. I mean, if we write a normal function without any attributes, how it will behave, and then later on we'll put some attributes on top of it, and then we'll see what difference does it make. Alright, so let's go and play this and play and host and join. In this case here, we made this a server, okay, and we're also playing from it, so it's a client and a server. And this one, it's only the client. Okay, you can see here at the status, sorry, this is a client. Here we are hosting, and we are also a client because we are playing from it. Alright, so as you can see here, when the game loads, when we move to a play scene, what happened? Show message was called. So this function is executed twice. Alright, so for some reason it is executing 2 times, and on the client side it also executed 2 times. Don't worry about these colors, they are not synchronizing. We'll see later on when we will actually write some code using sync wars. Alright, so for now let's just see how the normal functions work. Alright, so let's talk about why it happened. Alright, so as you know that when our scene is created and when players join the game, every player's prefab is instantiated on every single client. Alright, so whoever is playing, they will be having every other player's prefab instantiated on them, as we can see here. Because we are on this is a server and it's also a client, that's why 2 players are spawned on it. So both of these are spawned here, and also in our game here 2 players are spawned here in this game as well. Alright, and as we know that both of these player prefabs, they have these component values. So when the game starts, this player 1, its script, this value script is executed and it displayed us this show message was called. Alright, and then this second player's script got executed and it displayed us this message, show message was called. So that's why we are seeing these 2 messages on our screens. Alright, so now let's stop this game and let's go back to our script in here, and this time what we'll do, we will put a client attribute on top of this function. Alright, now this function is not our normal function. When we written this client attribute on top of it, now this is no longer a simple function. Alright, now this client attribute, when we write it on top of a function, this makes sure that whenever this function is called, only it will be executed if that instance of the game is a client. Alright, let's save it and let's go ahead and build and run that, and I will show you what I mean exactly in just 1 minute. Let's build and run that. Alright, so we have our game here. Let's play it. Let's play this one also, and this time we'll not play and host here. We'll only make it a dedicated server so that it's not a client, it's only a server. Alright, and let's join it and add one more player. Let's join the game. Now see, when the game is started, on this side we were having two players. Alright, so it has two player prefabs here, and it is called show message was called, and because this one is a client, this function got executed, and because we were having two players in here, it was called twice. Alright, so that's why we are seeing two alert messages here. And now let's go back to our main game where we hosted this game. Now here what you will see, we still have two players instantiated here, but we are not getting those messages here. Why it happened? That's because we made this function a special one by writing client attribute on top of it. So this function will be executed only on the clients. Alright, and this function will be executed locally on clients. Alright, so it will never execute it on a server, even though this script is attached here. This script is attached with both of these players, and both of these players have these scripts on them, and it's also called from the update function inside them, but they are not executed because it is not a client. Alright, I hope that makes sense. Alright, now let's close it. Now let's make this one message show message server. Alright, you know what will happen, but let's test it out and let's see if you're exactly right. Alright, so let's build and run that. Alright, let's play. Let's play here. Let's make it a dedicated server this time, and let's join the game. Add one more player, join. Alright, so now you can see here, because this was client and it had two players and both of them were having that script, and that were having that update function, that were having that function call in that update function, but it is not displaying the messages. Why? Because it's a client, and we told our game that only execute this function only if our game is a server. Only run it on the server. Alright, I'm sure that makes sense. Alright, now let's go back to our code here, and this time we'll make it client. We want this function to be executed on client, but we will do one more step. Alright, we want this function to be executed only for my player. Alright, not for other players. Alright, so if I'm playing the game and only I want to control my character and I don't want to control other players' characters, okay, they will be controlling them from their PCs or from their mobile phones, whatever. Alright, but in my case I want this function to be called only for my player. Alright, so how we will be achieving that? We'll simply go inside our update function and we'll write this if condition is local player. Alright, okay, now we made a very simple change. We said that if it's local player, then execute this function. Alright, if it's not a local player, then do not do that. So let's go ahead and save it and then build and run and see what happens. Alright, build and run. Oh, make sure before you build and run, you close your other instance of the game which you are running already. Yes. Okay, now let's play it. Let's play this one too. Alright, this time let's play and host here. So this one is a client and a server, and this one is a client. Okay, we join this game from here, and we join here, and the game is started now. Alright, now see, this one was a server and also a client at the same time. Why? Because we were hosting the game from here, and we are also playing from here. Alright, and notice this time it only showed this message only once. Alright, the last time we called it, it was displaying us this message 2 times. And that's because although we were playing this game, we were having 2 game objects in our scene, and this player 1, player 2, both were having this value script, having that function call, and it was executing both of them, and we were getting 2 messages over here. But this time it shows us only 1 message. Why is that? Because this show message was called only from our player prefab. Alright, we came into the game, we checked, we started running this script on it, and when we went inside it, we checked if it's a local player. I mean this player prefab. If it's a local player, that means if it's my player, then execute this code, alright, and display me this message. The second time it went, okay, let's assume this was my player, and it executed the script and it displayed me this message. Then it moved on to the next player, and it went inside it, and it checked if is local player. In this case, it won't be a local player because this is not my player prefab, it's his. Alright, it's this guy's player prefab, so that's why it didn't execute it here, and I got only what I wanted my player to do and not the other player's message. Alright, I hope that makes sense. And the same thing happened over on to this side, where this show message was called comes from this player's prefab. Alright, here it is coming from player 2, and here it is coming from player 1. I hope that makes sense. So by writing this simple code, if is local player, that makes this code to run only on our player and not on the other's player. Alright, okay, so I think this is pretty much all for this video part. In the next video part, I will cover some more attributes, and we'll see how they works, like command attribute and client RPC attributes, because they are the most important attributes when we are sending data from server to all the clients, and when we are sending some data from client back to the server. Alright, so those attributes will help us communicate with our server and players. Alright, so we'll talk about them in the next video part. I hope you like my video. Don't forget to like and share, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Have fun, take care, and bye bye.